You finally bought it. The shiny new phone, the dream car, the big promotion. You hold it in your hands. You did it. You have successfully achieved the exact thing you obsessed over for months. You should feel absolute, pure, unadulterated happiness right now. Except, exactly 5 minutes later, the excitement completely vanishes. It evaporates into thin air. It is immediately replaced by a familiar, hollow, sinking feeling inside your chest, whispering two terrible words. Now what? We live in the most comfortable, luxurious, heavily air-conditioned era in human history. We have everything our ancestors bled for, yet we are chronically dissatisfied. Why does getting exactly what you want almost always make you feel miserable? Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Studies consistently show that even major lottery winners return to their baseline level of happiness within just a few months. Win millions, you celebrate, you buy a massive mansion, and a year later, you are exactly as grumpy as you were before. You probably think you are just buying the wrong things or setting the wrong goals. You think you just need a better plan. You are wrong. You are not failing at happiness. You are fighting an ancient biological trap that is actively working against your peace of mind. You think the answer is finally finding the ultimate goal? Finding the perfect partner or making $1 million? Absolutely not. Because the neurochemical you are desperately chasing inside your brain does not actually care about the goal at all. Meet dopamine. Pop psychology blogs will tell you that this is the happiness molecule, the cozy reward you get for doing a good job. But dopamine is not your friend. It is not your reward. It is a ruthless, evolutionary whip designed to keep you relentlessly moving. To understand why your brain actively wants you to be unhappy, we need to look at how this cruel chemical actually operates. In 1997, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz ran a brilliantly simple experiment that completely shattered our fundamental understanding of human happiness. He placed a monkey in a chair, attached some brain monitors, and occasionally squirted delicious, sweet apple juice directly into its mouth. As expected, the moment the monkey tasted the sweet juice, its dopamine levels spiked dramatically. The brain was clearly registering a pleasant reward. But then Schultz added a tiny twist. He started flashing a bright light just a few seconds before delivering the apple juice. After the monkey learned the pattern, something absolutely bizarre happened. The massive dopamine spike entirely shifted its position on the monitor. The monkey's brain started releasing dopamine the exact moment the light flashed, long before a single drop of juice touched its tongue. Dopamine was not reacting to the actual pleasure of the reward itself. It was reacting purely to the anticipation and craving of it. It gets worse. If the light flashed, but the scientists withheld the juice, the monkey's dopamine levels violently crashed below baseline, creating pure chemical misery. This is a biological mechanism called reward prediction error. It is the precise reason why the chase is always better than the catch. Think about your online shopping habits. The massive, intoxicating rush of excitement actually happens the exact moment you hit the Buy Now button. You check the tracking app every single day. Your dopamine is firing like absolute crazy, building up the anticipation of the delivery. But the moment you finally rip open that brown cardboard box and actually hold the item, the dopamine completely flatlines and shuts off. Dopamine is not the beautiful destination you are trying to reach. It is merely the biological GPS aggressively yelling at you to keep driving. The second you finally arrive at your goal, the GPS turns off, leaving you stranded with that painfully empty, now what, feeling. So, we have to ask the ultimate question. Why on earth would nature intentionally design such a cruel, relentlessly frustrating system? To answer that, we have to travel back a few 100,000 years. Meet your great-great-great-grandfather, a Paleolithic hunter-gatherer. His life is not a comfortable modern Netflix binge. It is a brutal, daily, high-stakes biological game of calories in versus calories out. Imagine he manages to hunt down a massive prehistoric beast. He eats a huge meal. His stomach is full. He is finally safe. If evolution actually wanted him to be happy, his brain would release a permanent dose of joy, and he would feel satisfied forever. But if he felt satisfied forever, he would just lay down under a tree, stop hunting, and literally starve to death next week. This is where the brain acts like a highly toxic corporate manager. It intentionally drops your dopamine levels right back down to zero, replaces the temporary joy with anxiety, restlessness, and hunger. It screams at him to get up and go hunt another mammoth immediately. In a harsh, ancient wilderness where starvation was the default state, this mechanism was absolutely brilliant. Misery kept your ancestors alive. But there is a major problem. That was 50,000 years ago. Today, you are completely surrounded by infinite calories and comfort. Evolution takes millions of years to update its code. Human society drastically changed in just a few thousand. This creates a terrifying glitch. Biologists call this evolutionary mismatch. You are essentially trying to run a Stone Age survival software program on a 21st century smartphone hardware system. Your ancient brain still thinks you are one meal away from starving, so it screams at you to consume absolutely everything in sight. It is why you can mindlessly scroll on social media for 3 hours straight, feeling absolutely miserable, yet completely unable to stop. Your ancient dopamine system mistakenly thinks every new notification, every new video is a vital piece of survival information. A digital berry. Which leads to a very uncomfortable truth about why you are sitting there right now, feeling stressed, anxious, and empty. If you constantly feel a low-level hum of anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction, you probably think your brain is fundamentally broken. You go to therapy, you read self-help books, you try to fix yourself. But here is the brutal, paradigm-shifting truth. Your misery is not a biological bug. It is a highly optimized, perfectly functioning evolutionary feature. Think about our ancient ancestors. Imagine a prehistoric human who was born with a perfectly balanced, permanently happy brain. He eats one berry, feels totally fulfilled, sits under a tree, and immediately gets eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. The content, peaceful, perfectly happy apes did not survive. They were completely wiped out from the genetic pool. Ones who survived were the paranoid, greedy, chronically dissatisfied apes who were constantly terrified of starving tomorrow. You are the direct, unbroken genetic descendant of the most anxious, stressed-out creatures to ever walk the face of the earth. When you lay in bed at 2 a.m., agonizing over your life choices and feeling like you need more, that is just your ancient survival software running flawlessly at 100% efficiency. It is doing its job. Dopamine was never designed to give you lasting peace. It was designed to build civilizations. Every great human achievement, from the invention of the wheel to walking on the moon, was driven by profound dissatisfaction. We did not build massive skyscrapers and rocket ships because we were happy. We built them because we wanted more. Your unhappiness is the exact same evolutionary engine that pushed humanity to conquer the entire planet. You cannot uninstall this biological software, but once you realize how it works, you can finally stop letting it control you. We are the direct descendants of the most restless, anxious, and eternally dissatisfied apes to ever walk the earth. Their constant paranoia and bottomless greed kept them alive long enough to pass those exact same survival genes down to you. But today, you are running that primitive, scarcity-driven software in a modern world of infinite abundance and comfort. Let's go back to that shiny new phone or that big promotion from the beginning of the video. When that hollow, sinking, now what feeling inevitably hits you 5 minutes after you get exactly what you wanted, do not panic. Do not go down a spiral thinking that your brain is fundamentally broken or defective. You are not failing at happiness. You are just experiencing the heavy echo of an ancient survival mechanism. It is simply your inner caveman poking you with a stick, desperately trying to keep you alive for one more day. Once you actually understand that dopamine is just a biological motivator and not a reward, its spell is broken. You can acknowledge the craving, politely thank your ancient brain for trying to help, and then simply let it go. You can finally step off the exhausting hedonic treadmill and stop chasing a chemical ghost that was never meant to be caught. Because the only real way to win a rigged biological game is to realize that you do not have to play it. Of course, human consciousness is wildly complex, and theories about dopamine and evolution are constantly debated and updated by researchers. History and science are always rewritten when new evidence emerges, which makes exploring our origins a never-ending journey. Subscribe to Primal Mind, where we decode the strange origins of human behavior. See you next week for another mystery.